Hello, foodies, and welcome back to FUT in Review, powered by FUTcoaching.com. We are recording episode 433. We are the currently 2 times a week podcast about FIFA. We bring you the latest thing about FIFA Ultimate Teams and lately all about pro clubs. And of course, made possible by you, our listeners, viewers, and especially our Patreon supporters. So go check out patreon.com/FUTInReview to see the amazing benefits a little donation can bring you. And of course, a special shout out goes out to our Skybox owners, Reese, Amar, Daniel, and Archon, because they support us in the maximum tier. Added to the tiers, of course, are the trials for our Pro Clubs team. That's right. If you are a Patreon supporter and you are on PlayStation 5, you can get an invite to these trials. Whether you make the team or not, that's up to the manager, but you get a fair chance nonetheless. And, newsflash, we don't actually have to start in the lowest tier because, well, the VPG actually liked us so much that we already got promoted without playing a game. So that's about it. Today we talk about another podcast and we discuss if weekend leagues should be changed, and even more precisely, should it be golden goal? My name is John and I'll be your host tonight. And before I introduce our guest, it's my pleasure to reintroduce you to the man that's been on a short holiday. It is the Coach Slayer. It is none other than Chris Grandpapa Mac.
Hey mate, it's good to be back. I've sorely missed you guys. I've been keeping up with the Discord and seeing how things are going.
The only thing I'm worried about is keeping
up
up with
FIFA as well.
But we'll try to talk slowly when we have you to answer something. It's good to have you back, man. You are, how can I say this, very much tanned. And if you're looking at the YouTube recording, you can see this whole new Coach Slayer returning.
Except me, it's not even Scottish summer either. It's
right,
the beautiful Barcelona weather. It was lovely there.
To the UK?
Yeah, well, hopefully he's going to Rangers, no Man United then.
For you guys, though.
No, I don't even
it's about saying
spare me or 80,000 potential at the moment.
This season. And although it's not a transfer, we are having a podcast, cross-podcast, if I can say so myself. It is a crossover with none other than a familiar, well, not face actually, because when he was back on our show, we didn't actually record video, but with a familiar voice for sure, and many people are actually listening to this show. It's none other than the man that has a fix for food, the host of the FUT FIX podcast. It's Tyler.
Hey, John. Thank you so much for having me. Good to be back on the FUT in Review show. It's been probably a year and a half or so since I was last on, but really excited to be back here and chat with you guys.
Yeah, it's good to have you on, mate. I could say I wish circumstances were better, but then I'm making a joke here. We always wanted to do this for a while, but you guys had a little bit of a slower turnaround lately, so I was afraid to ask, but then I saw a new show pop up, like, yeah, let's get Tyler on. And then this week, or actually like 2 days ago, there was a certain tweet which made me say, you know what, let's discuss it on a podcast and get me a good excuse to invite you back on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's perfect timing. And, I think we have probably a good list of a few things to dive into, and I'm sure we differ in some areas, and we'll probably learn something about each other from it.
For sure. And talking about learning something from each other, people that don't know you, Tyler, can you give them a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I am a US-based FIFA player. Obviously,
you
the
wouldn't
host
say
of the
that, though.
Yeah, USA, and host of the FUT FIX. And I've been playing FIFA for quite some time, and I think I started back in like FIFA 13. But avid gamer. I've never been a tremendous player. Kind of in this year's version. Around 9 to 11 wins in weekend league. So that's kind of like where I top out, but certainly competitive, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's definitely a good introduction. Thank you so much. Go check out the FUT FIX podcast. We'll put in links later in the show notes as well. It's a very cool show because our former host, Andrew, is your co-host.
That's right. Yeah. So Andrew, also known as FUT_AST, he and I mean, we started talking on Twitter about FIFA like 5 years ago, and it was virtually like everyday conversations. And it finally evolved into the place where we're like, we should just actually do this as a podcast and save ourselves of all the typing during the week. And so that's kind of our new plan.
Yeah. The only thing you guys introduced in your podcast is that what's the drink? You guys used to do podcasts while actually having a cocktail or a good drink along. We're European. We actually don't drink that much, except if you're from Scotland. So I think the only one that actually could handle this one is Chris. What are you drinking now?
For me or for Chris? Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm drinking a green juice. I am not actually drinking a cocktail right now, but it is a blend of spinach, cucumber, celery, lemon, and parsley. So it's an ultra healthy way to kind of start your day.
We have to say that we are recording this in the evening in Europe. So yeah, it would be weird if you were already drinking scotch now on a Sunday afternoon. Although I've been to Scotland a couple of weeks ago, and it's actually not that weird, Chris, because what are you drinking now?
I'm actually drinking tea, John. Would you believe I'm drinking tea? I've been on the cocktails for about 2 weeks, so I'm going to give it a miss. But I think Tyler could do a vodka and that juice, and that'll make it extra special.
It would make it sound a little bit more enticing if I'm quite honest, though. Although maybe I should just try it first.
Yeah, it grows on you. You learn to love it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I've been having voice issues for the last week, and the first thing the specialist said to me, "You probably are drinking a lot of coffee, aren't you?" Like, yeah, I have to, right? I got to stay awake during all these hours. Like, yeah, you got to stay off the coffee. That's the first thing I would recommend. Just quit coffee, because that's like the worst thing for your voice. Just start your day off with tea and just drink water and tea. So that was the first 3 days of the week. I was having withdrawal symptoms and stuff. It's really, really bad. But the good thing is I'm going on holiday in 3 weeks, and I might be just off my coffee addiction when my holiday breaks. But it's still that I'm not looking forward to this.
Wow, good for you. Yeah, I might give up talking over giving up coffee. That seems like a tough choice.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, I got to make my money with my voice, so there's no other option for me, right? Chris, before we dive into the content, I have to ask you to just remain a little bit more, just laugh at the camera, because I've got the 10 rapid fire questions for Tyler first, and then we'll discuss the tweet that kept things going this week. Trending topic tweet.
No problem at all.
All right, Tyler.
Yeah,
PlayStation
I look forward
or
to these
Xbox?
questions actually.
PlayStation.
What's your first FIFA?
FIFA. It's either FIFA 12 or 13. Didn't play an online game until FIFA 16.
Good answer. It's like you have been asked this before, though. What's the worst FIFA?
My least favorite FIFA was probably FIFA 21.
Fair. If you could change one thing in the current version of FIFA, what would it be? And don't say Golden Goal Weekend League. We get that later.
I think if I could change one thing in the current version, I think I wish we just already had crossplay. Like, I feel like that seems silly that we're at this stage and it's not been in. I know it's coming, so that'll get resolved very quickly. I feel like gameplay is like the real right answer of like connection issues, but I don't feel like that's ever going to get solved. So I feel like there's just a whole can of worms that opens up. So the easy answer for me is just crossplay.
Good one. I can't say how much I am enjoying the current crossplay on the new consoles already on the seasons. We're running a tournament crossplay with the 90 mode on, so it's not foot related, but every player is 90 rated. So everyone just takes their favorite team, and it's crossplay. It's amazing. It's a community builder. It works really well. I'm playing guys from all the way from Japan, and no delay. It's insane. So I don't know if the server related is foot or something, but it's a tremendous experience, honestly, when it does work.
That's awesome.
Your favorite real life football team, if any?
Liverpool is my favorite real life team. I started watching, I think it was back in like 2014, and so I'm relatively new to watching football as a sport, being an American. And I started watching just like highlight shows that were on, and Luis Suarez was like always scoring, banging in all these goals for Liverpool, and it just got me interested in the club. And then he quickly like went and bit someone in the World Cup and moved on, but I stayed a fan of Liverpool.
That's a good question. And at least know one host of a show that would definitely like your answer. I saw Chris twitch a little bit, but hey, Chris, you are wearing a red cap, so there's that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm wearing the colours for Tyler today. Can I just ask from so I know it's your questions, John, and I'm going to quickly jump in here. As an American, what
Yeah,
made
it's
you
actually
switch
so
on to
the
that
sport
sport
had
then,
been
Tyler?
growing slowly through World Cups, the U.S. team like actually qualifying a few times. And so there was like slow build of interest. And one of the things that happened was back in that time frame of somewhere around like 2012 to 14, they started airing a US version of the Match of the Day show, which I know Match of the Day was like on in Europe, at least in the UK. I don't know if it's all over Europe. But I saw that program and I just found it like fascinating because you could see like, quick segments of every game over the course of the weekend, and basically kind of like a highlight show. And I found that like a really engaging way to be introduced to the sport. And I started learning who the players were, who the teams were, and just fell in love. I found it much more exciting as there's like constant movement and no commercials, and just very different than a lot of our traditional American sports. And I just find it more enjoyable.
Oh, don't worry. No. It's all right. It's all right.
Sweet. Sorry, John.
It's
I
more
know it's
the
10 quick questions.
quickness is
Apologies.
more
I'll
in
be quiet.
the time Tyler has to reply, right? Go on there.
Mhm.
And there comes the hardest question of the day.
Right.
What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is definitely heights. I hate like being near a ledge is the thing that scares me the most. Even if it's like a beautiful balcony with a great view, I like can't go near the edge to like take a look.
And the thing, I'm not laughing at your fear though. I'm laughing because I'm Dutch and we don't have any heights. So there's not a single Dutchman in the world that actually has a fear of height. I think because we don't experience it, and when we do, it's like, whoa, this is cool.
Oh, you're so lucky.
We have like one entertainment park and one theme park that is only roller coasters. It's tremendous popular because then people can actually go up and see something, have a view.
That's funny.
Twitter or Instagram?
Both, but for foot, definitely Twitter.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. Is scripting real?
No.
Whew. You can stay. We can continue this podcast. What's your favorite food and why is it pizza?
Pizza, yes, absolutely. And I mean, I actually took a second job. Like I'm an accountant by trade, and I took a job in the evenings twice a week to work at a pizza food truck where I make and serve pizza to people because I love it that much.
Hold on, wait a minute. The man's a superstar here. Let's not talk
Pizza
about
and
FIFA. Let's talk about
that's
pizza.
for the summer period. Oh, that's pretty cool though. And I actually saw that because I saw I think a response from you on someone's answer, something with pizza. It's like here's a picture of, and I saw you in an oven and putting it there. I was like, yeah, okay, this is a good question to answer. We actually ask all our guests this question, but I think this one was very cool. What's your favorite pizza then? Make it a live question.
Yeah, so I like Neapolitan style pizza. There's a place in San Francisco, California called A16, and they have the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. And it's just a classic margarita pizza.
I think Italy is closer for me. But if I ever am in the vicinity of San Francisco, I might give it a go. Thank you very much. And they are not sponsoring the show, although we're always open, of course, for it. It's a good introduction. And the question, the actual tweet that got us into having this conversation today was you retweeting someone said, and I honestly, I forgot the name of the person that actually tweeted it. So while I'm actually looking at that, the answer was, the tweet itself was, why is it June and we don't have a golden goal in a weekend league yet? It was at cynical_foot that asked that question. It's June, make FUT Champs golden goal. And you replied, this should have 1 million likes by now. Whereas a non-further to be mentioned host from our social media team says, why though? To get through 20 games even faster, can't you get normal games in Rivals anymore because everyone wants instant rewards? It's cool to have nice cards, but if you can use it only in 5 in-game minutes. We continued that conversation and decided it was probably better to have a podcast about it. And I have about 70 responses on our socials answering that same question. So it definitely is something that was worth discussing. And Chris said, quite frankly, this is a dog shit solution. It's the only time I'm going to say shit tonight. 2 times now, I'm really going to quit this. And then it's like, let's get you both on the show today.
I'd like to apologise to Tyler as well. I didn't mean it. I think he caught me. I was hungover when I wrote that tweet.
Yeah,
you should always stay off Twitter when you've got a hangover. You got to do a Scottish accent, John.
Yeah, I did write to Tyler. It's
as
okay.
Well.
He's Scottish. His written communication are usually pretty basic.
It's very. You're going to do a Scottish accent, John, if you're going to say that word.
I've done it once when I was in Edinburgh and people looked at me funny, so I'm staying away from that.
Well,
but I think it's definitely good.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Well, actually, I came back from holiday today, as John said, and I wanted to come on the show to apologise first and foremost as well to you for writing that tweet. If I knew how to delete it, I would delete it.
Well,
but
now it's on
me and Twitter's not the best of pals. So.
But it does make sense. I said I'm one of the parties that said I really don't agree with that. But before we go into discussing whether you're not or whether you don't agree for it, I think it's most importantly, where does it come from? So Tyler, can you tell us why would you like it to be golden goal?
Yeah, for sure. And I think up to the point of that tweet on Friday night, the only golden goal I had played in FUT was the Serie A Cup just a couple of weeks ago, the one that was pretty recent. There may have been some others before that, but I had taken like a 5 to 6 week break off of FUT, and so I missed them. And so I played the Serie A Cup and absolutely loved it. And it helped that I packed the team of the season, Rafael Leao, from one of the rewards.
Can slightly imagine that. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. So I was like, wow, this is great. Very exciting. But simultaneously, I had really not been enjoying playing FUT Champs really at all. That was part of why I took, my 6-week break from playing the game. And it felt like a lot of toxic behavior of people quitting during draws and rubber banding, taking all their pauses at the end of the game, just like all this extra stuff that goes into it. I don't even like that you have to play playoffs to even get into Weekend League. And then also, like, I know they've recently reduced the time, during team of the season, Weekend League had been extended for an extra couple of days and they've shortened that time. And so all of this is to say, I've kind of just been frustrated with the Weekend League experience. And I thought, I saw this tweet and I was like, hey, I loved playing the golden goal mode that I've been playing. I would love to try something different and just see if it's fun. And so, yeah, I, retweeted the tweet, not really thinking much about it beyond that, to be honest. Just thought it seemed like something that would be fun.
That's fair, though. And I went sort of at it on my personal account, and I really think it's the most toxic way to make, or the worst way to make FIFA Weekend League even more toxic. And I think it's very important to understand the why. Like you said, I think it is more about variety and changing things up. Whereas my first response, honestly, on when people would say golden goal, we want this golden goal, or we want to have less matches, which usually was last year as well, was always into this, he only wants rewards. He only wants to get the good cards early or as fast as possible. And I'm very much against it because I have always said that if rewards is the reason why you play the game, you should just stop playing the game, because the rewards will either help you enjoy it a little bit temporarily, it'll boost you play a little bit, or it will just demotivate you extra because of the work you put in and actually doesn't reward you. And that's how the rewards actually work. So that was my opinion why I said, you know what? I don't think this is a pretty good idea. I think there's more ways of applying variety to Weekend League like we've had in previous years, especially now it's not a qualification mode anymore, where I think it's a very good way to say, you know what, let's make it a Brazil only next week. Let's make it, I don't care, silver only. I do care if it's silver only because I would definitely not be playing that. But, I think that's a better way for me to apply this to it. People responded to that tweet saying, what about add a filter? But many people responded to that as well. Well, if you add filters, you probably won't find any players in certain regions of the world or times in the world or on certain consoles, which are not freely available either. So I don't think that's an option either. So variety is the spice of life. So I totally get that. Chris, why are you against not having golden goal in weekly or having golden goal weekly?
Well, I think there was one of the replies was from EastEnders 3000. I'll name check him because I did ask him to listen to the pod. He put he was very much in Tyler's camp as well in terms of wanting to have the golden goal, and his issue was though that his time's wasted a lot with people quitting at 0-0, or I think he's got a particularly strong team. Or it could be a she actually, so I take that back. He or she has a particularly strong team, and when the people say their team, they're quitting out. I think that's where a lot of the frustration is coming from. I don't know if Tyler's finding that as well, in terms of, and I know you did, John, you've been tweeting about that as well. Is the problem is now, I don't think it's golden goal. I think the problem is people are wasting other people's time. And they had a situation where I messaged the guy and says, look, he had a weekend league game and he quit at 0-0, and I had enough. And I messaged him and says, look, you're basically a toxic EA lover, and he was quite offended by it. I had a conversation about it. I just said, look, you're wasting people's time in the community. That's the issue, and nobody seems to really care about that, about wasting time. So for me, golden goals, I know, because weekend league should be where you play players that are better than you. I had a situation today. I played a playoff game 1-0 down in the first 2 minutes, and came back to win 2-1 by half time. The guy quit out, which is fine. I get the win, but it's when people quit out at 0-0. That is the issue I find is a problem. And also, for weekend league should be the pinnacle of the game. That's where you actually are trying your best to get that. It's not about the rewards. It's about actually challenging yourself and having the ability to come back from 1-0, 2-0 down. And we talk about it a lot.
I can see Tyler thinking about it.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts there, and I think first, John, to respond to your point about rewards, and earlier you mentioned wanting to be able to use the players that you have, and I think in one of your tweets you mentioned not wanting the game to, only last like 5 in-game minutes, and your 20 overall weekend league games will be done in a flash. But I actually wouldn't be opposed if they made a golden goal weekend league 40, 50, 60 games, right? It's like you still are using the players that you have in your club. You're using them for every game of golden goal. And I don't think it has to stay at 20. Like, they could make it longer so you're actually still engaging with the content for a longer amount of time. And I think that could kind of even the playing field. I'm sure they have data on how long an average golden goal game is, and they could probably extrapolate and make a reasonable marker for like where people would play or how many games people would have to play. And I think that would be a way to make that more interesting. And I think to Chris's point on like the, wanting to see like who's the better player, I think that's really kind of like the root of the issue is like in a golden goal format, like you're putting it way more up to randomness and chance, right? Like you might feel like you're a much better player in a game, but concede an early goal, but know that if you change a few things in your tactics or bring on a sub, you might be able to overcome and beat that player over a normal, call it 15-minute real time game. And golden goal takes a lot of that away from you and makes the game much more random. And I think my only point was like, I thought to do that for a weekend, I'm not saying this would be a permanent change, would be a fun experience to go through. And part of like why I thought the weekend league format versus a friendly is the weekend league format has better overall rewards. Like the format does actually give, I think, the best rewards for time that you put into the game, because you get coins, you get tradable packs, you get custom rewards with red picks, and in friendlies, everything is untradeable. And so there's actually is like a difference in the reward structure of what you're getting back from the time you spend playing the game. And often like those untradeable cards can be very, very good, but I think it would be more fun if like, oh, I had a unique custom card that's like, maybe it's yellow instead of red, and then, you know, I got it through my friendly mode instead of through a champs mode. But the rewards are actually different, and I think that that's a factor for me of like why I thought in a weekend league format versus what they're currently doing in friendlies is a potential solution. They obviously could change what you get in the friendly mode and start adding more things, and I'd be totally fine to leave it in friendlies, and simultaneously we have just the standard traditional weekend league. But that was kind of like where I was at from a starting point.
I think those are all fair points, right? I think there's a couple of things why I think golden goal is not healthy. That's my access point. Let's put it like this. I think one of the most concerning thing about golden goal is that it has nothing to do with actual football. It doesn't actually exist in football anymore, right? Football is a game over a certain period of time where anything can change any minute. Can also lay flat on his ass for 50 minutes, but still can change in the last 5 minutes. We've seen that happen in the Champions League this year multiple times where the last 5 minutes happened 2 goals and things turned around. Real Madrid anyone versus Manchester City, for example. I think over 90 minutes or 12 minutes in game, whatever, generally speaking, you get better players, you get better position, and you become a better player by experiencing that. I think the biggest issue in the game currently is people quitting out and not getting penalized for it, or you not get rewarded when they actually do. But I think everyone agrees that that just has to be fixed, no matter what the mode is, no matter what the game thing is, whatever. It just has to get fixed because it's freaking annoying. And that takes a little bit of the stress away everywhere, because if you take that away, the time you'd spend will always be worth for what you're doing, right? So golden goal, I think, per definition, is nothing to do with FIFA or with football. So I think that's one reason why it should go. The other thing is there are many people that look forward to playing weekend league. They qualify for it, and I think it is part of their weekend, right? If you apply golden goal in a weekend league variation, there is a lot of more factors coming in. Like you said, the randomness is definitely something there. There's nothing as frustrated, and I think as frustrating if you are playing than a random goal conceded or bounce in or whatever, or you know, the one counter that after you played 40 minutes possession, he gets one through ball and he spams him in, you lose. Well, and if that's actually the winner, I can think about how frustrating that can be. Quite honestly, I don't think it would, like you said, you sent me a message like, hey, I thought you don't have much time in your weekend. It might be good for you. Sure, for sure, right? I think I might be getting my weekend league done in 2 hours and probably have the same net result in the end that I would normally get. Or around. At least I was, even if I get 2 wins less, I'm like, not bad for 2 hours of work, so I'll be fine. But for people that make weekend league a part of the weekend, like seriously want to play it, want to test themselves there, want to perform, want to get better, which is something people say to me a lot when we look at the results. And I've got some people sending in remarks in. But for example, John sends a message and says, when I play FIFA, I take a while to get into games. Like I need a couple of minutes to warm up to get my feeling for the game and get something in. And I usually can't play long games in a row. If I play golden goal like he's now doing in the friendly mode, he wins about 1 a day because it takes a whole lot of time before he actually gets in the swing of FIFA. And then the other ones he already lost. Well, if he plays a normal game, he can actually get the first 20 minutes where it feels all right, and then still gets into rhythm. And in the end, by being the better player or betting the better mechanics or having a better mindset, actually win that game, which he probably deserves to win. So I think those are very viable options. Do not think. And I think toxicity in golden goal, we've seen that on the friendly mode, is probably even worse than it currently is, even without the quitting. You get players playing 4-2-4, just spamming the ball forward and just hope for a lucky goal. I think it has nothing to do with actually what this whole game is about. So although I can definitely stand behind changing weekly league around, something I've been asking for actually, especially since it's not a pro qualifier mode anymore anyways, I would go for, okay, make it ratings, make it a rating team, I need to play with 6 French people and whatever, make it something. I'm perfectly fine with that. Golden goal is just the only thing which I think is bad for people's mental health. if you take the game serious, it could be very bad for you. I think it's nothing to do with football on its own, or soccer. It should never be in anything football or soccer related. And I think because you get rewards anyways fairly quickly in Weekend League, it's all right. If they remove the quits, not getting if people quit and you don't get, you still get a win. I think 20 games is perfect. It's better than it's ever been before. So I don't see any trouble with that either. I saw Chris nodding a whole lot of times. Chris, anything to add there, or Tyler, anything to respond from you?
Okay.
No, I think Tyler should have a chance to respond. To be honest with you,
the original tweet where I said I think this idea should have 1 million likes. What I also think was probably true in my head at that time is that it would also have like 1 million dislikes, right? Like I probably assumed that half the people would think it would be fun to actually try it, and maybe half the people would be very serious and want to keep their Weekend League competitive. I think I was probably wrong on that initial assessment based on reading through like the responses. I think it felt like an overwhelming majority of people to me want to actually keep and play like the same Weekend League format that we've been doing for 40 weeks straight and not add variety into the mode, or certainly not put it into a golden goal format. So I think probably because I took a step away from the game, like in my head, I'm thinking more and more people are like me and not wanting to play as seriously. And I was just probably wrong on how much that assessment actually took place. And then the other thing I wanted to chat about was the toxicity point that you're making in Golden Goal. The other thing that's happened since that tweet on Friday is the Shapeshifter Cup objective came out, where we now have another Golden Goal format actually in the game right now, where it's slightly different than the Serie A Cup that I played previously, where this one is out for a week and basically requires you to win 60% of your games across 7 days to get like the maximum rewards. I think the rewards are better along the way. So even if you don't get the maximum, like everything, it's probably still better than what the other one was. But in the 2 days worth of games that I've played, I'm 1-9. Like I've gotten crushed in this mode. So I'm less hot on Golden Goal as a format than I was probably 2 days ago because I'm getting slaughtered. I don't actually think it's been because of people's toxic behavior. I think people play super aggressively, and like you were mentioning, like the 4-2-4, like it does feel like a different type of game where it's a lot of all-out press and lots of skill moves of people trying to just glitch through one time for something crazy to happen. But I wanted to ask you is like, when you start a Weekend League game, like it starts 0-0, you obviously want to score, you don't want your opponent to score. Like the structure is kind of the same, but do you have, like, I assume you actually still play this Golden Goal format for extra rewards, but do you bring a different mentality into that friendly mode versus an actual game of Weekend League?
I could maybe answer that for you, because I know John doesn't really deal with friendlies and squad battles. You can see him shaking his head there. The mention of squad battles, Tyler. I mean, I use the 4-2-3-1. I think that John put up in our Discord, and I like players to play aggressive against me. So I find that in the Golden Goal, I changed my formation from my usual 4-1-2-1-2 to the 4-2-3-1, and allow the pressure to build on me and keep the ball at the back, and then you can release it for your faster wingers or your strikers. And if you play these guys who are coming out super aggressive, and you can then withstand that first 5-10 minutes of pressure, they start to wilt and they start to panic, and that's when. So I won. I played it this morning, this evening.
Wow, congratulations!
And I won 5 out of 5. In the Shapeshifters Cup, which is, I'm not a great player. That's just pure luck. So if you ask me next week how many I've got, I'll probably got 5 out of the 25 games that I'm going to play. But that's what I think. You're right. They're very super aggressive, the guys, and they're only desperate to score a goal. But if you can then withstand that pressure, you eventually break them down. And you're right. It's a different mindset. And I must admit, I love the Golden Goal in the friendlies. I think it's amazing. I think it's a real good fun way to play, and it does take a bit of pressure off you as well, because if you lose a goal and it's a fluky goal, well, it's
Chris
just
answered this for me already, right? I don't play it. Like, period. I don't play it. And that is, one major reason. My job is to teach people how to play good FIFA. I think it has nothing to do with playing the game properly. The way the way it's played, right? It's played very aggressive. You just want to get that goal quick in. You do everything you learn. You throw off the table, just go forward and hope you score first. And if I start doing that play style myself, I'll have problem adjusting to the normal setup for matches, I think. So I just hate everything about it. But that's why, I think, for me, right? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask like a follow up on that. Like, what if someone came to you and said, "I'd love to practice, like in weekend league, and I'm playing a good player, and I'm down a goal, and it's the last 10 minutes of the game, and I need to figure out how do I come back and score that goal." Do you think that this is similar to that at all?
No, I think it's different, honestly, because when you're behind and when a full pressure match is on, there's two things going on. The first thing is you can apply different tactics. Like, tactically, you can change things around to build more pressure, and we can practice on that mechanically, how you could do that, for sure, right? Use different kinds of presses, different D-pad tactics, etc. So there's definitely tactics there, but the fact is you switching towards that changes also mindset, changes the pressure you build on your opponent. When you start a match off like that, I think it's a whole different ballgame. The second part is when you do it in a high pressure situation, something we train people on is how they use the mindset on that. Like, if you 1-0 down, and you feel that there's still possibilities, don't change things around until like 17 minutes. Don't stress. You get that chance anyways, and you probably draw, right? And if you can get that mindset in and then be able to change tactically in the last 20 minutes and then switch your whole style around and then apply super pressures, like, well, what happened here? Suddenly I lost 2-1. Or you won 2-1 and your opponent lost 2-1. Like, what happened here? I think the problem with the golden goal is that 95% of your opponents will start off with that mindset. And also with, I really don't care if I win or lose this mindset. I think that's way different than if you're on a weekend league where every match does honestly matter. So at least usually it does. And there's, next to the fact that you really want to get a goal in, you also feel pressure that you really don't want to concede. I think that's a different mindset than in the friendly one.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I guess it's also like your opponent has a different mindset in that scenario. Like, your opponent isn't necessarily trying to score again because they already have the lead, and like they'd be playing a completely different style of play than someone is in this friendly mode. So I think you're right.
And I have not had anyone coming in with a coaching say I want to get better at the friendly modes either, honestly. I wouldn't honestly be able, like, I can give a tactic for them, right? I'm sure 4-2-4, go wide, full press, but it's nothing serious. It's just move the ball forward, make sure I'll teach you a skill move, see if you can pull that off and get that first goal in. I don't necessarily think it's that hard to do. And if you fail, you get countered and they score first and you're done. And I won't remember that when I go to bed that night, I think, anymore, what happened there. Like, Chris goes 5-0, I wouldn't even remember what I did in that match. So that's why I'm staying away from that. I can't be bothered by actually paying attention to it. So that's my main reason why I don't like that aspect of this game.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think I'm realizing it's negatively impacting my play. Like, I'm trying to now play like way too aggressively and do stupid things, and actually may still play weekend league this weekend. And I'm concerned that I'm going to go into that weekend league and have all these bad habits because I've been trying to play this friendly mode. So I might need to play a game or two of Rivals just to like change my mindset a little.
I think that's really true. I got some people sending in some questions though. John says it shouldn't be goal and goal because I want my games to be played. Simple as that. If you want to back out, so be it. But the game, the way it's made. I don't know the last part, but it could be me. Tolando77, our guest from this Friday, of course, go check him out, by the way. Says it should not be goal and goal for weekend league, no way. There should always be more competitive game modes, and it's the only way I'm going to learn to get better, in my opinion. I think that's different with Rivals, although Rivals might be a little bit more competitive. Honestly, I think it's a better system to get better. The pressure on Weekend League, if you allow that pressure to creep on you, is something you can't learn in any other mode. Like it feels like a proper tournament mode where you have a certain amount of games you actually have to play. So unless you're playing in our Community Cup, there's no way you'll be experiencing that. Nathan Down says, I agree, Weekend League is a competitive type environment. I'm also paying £60 for a game, and I want some game mode I want to play to improve. Friendlies, if done right with Golden Goal, is actually good, but I want Rivals and Weekend League to be played properly, otherwise I can't improve. Daniel says, Lozano with a heart. Nothing to do with this, but apparently there's a Lozano SBC. Captain Saveman says, I just collapsed at the same point anyways. Doesn't matter if it's Golden Goal. Fair enough.
I relate to that for sure.
Daniel Rushi says, definitely shouldn't be Golden Goal. I bought the game to play it. People want Golden Goal are probably just after the rewards. That's something I said as my first response, honestly, as well. And surely people also bought the game to actually play it. Oh, I think that's to be debated at this time, but the people on the show tonight definitely did, I think. And I have to be honest, I didn't buy it. There's that. John comes back. I actually hate the GG objective. I absolutely hate it. I'm actually angry. I hate it. So I think he really hates. Thanks for the feedback, John. That's not me, by the way. Just saying that. And he also says the community sense. It's if you play the objective modes, then pay attention to the time you're playing, because between 6 and 9, at least in Europe, in the evening, it's actually far more deadlier than if you would play the same mode during the day. That might be a good advice. So then I think the actual question remains, should Weekend League still be made Golden Goal, Tyler?
I would still 100% play it if they did it. I think it would be fun to try, and I'm still sticking to that as an answer. And I think if they made it an all French or an all Brazil, I would be more interested in trying that than I would playing another regular routine Weekend League that we've been doing. So I'm up for the variety, and I want to stick to that.
I think that's a good answer. Thank you very much. Chris? Yeah.
Can I just then ask in terms of variety then, and I have to say, and I know we're going to say where Tyler's Twitter is, but you should really follow Tyler on Twitter. His Twitter's brilliant. Just for variety, what was the banana?
Yeah,
sorry, banana pizza?
Yeah, I'll explain this. One of my
banana
tweets
and
where I
chicken
mentioned
pizza
working at the pizza food truck, I tweeted that I heard in Sweden banana chicken pizza is very popular, and I had literally never heard of it. And so I actually went and made one. I actually liked it. It was good. I made it with a regular red tomato sauce. I think it would have been better with like I don't know if you guys have barbecue sauce in Europe as well, but like that would have like made the flavor I think more cohesive. So I actually need to try it again with a different sauce, but it was actually still good. Like the banana was a unique flavor on a pizza that I'd never experienced before, and I liked it.
Should we have pineapple on pizza? That's
100%.
Chris?
I'm with you in that one, Tyler. Yep, 100%.
John looks like he's going to throw up, so I'm thinking he's a no.
Let's continue with another topic. Tyler, thank you so much for being here tonight, mate. Plug your show and plug yourself.
Yeah, our show is the FUT FIX, and you can find us on Twitter. We're at @FUT_FIX. You can also find me on Twitter at Pace of a Tortoise. My co-host Andrew, who probably everyone who listens to your show knows, he's at FUT_AST. But yeah, we're just a real casual podcast that isn't always trying to make everyone better. We're just talking, real reactions and responses to the game and just having a laugh with it.
Which is a very cool point of view. So go check him out at FUT_FIX, at least on Twitter. And just check FUT FIX on your Instagram or on your platforms where you listen to your podcasts. You can tease the other show as well, because you guys have been dabbling in another sport there.
Oh yeah, well we crossed over to MLB The Show, which is a baseball game. Andrew is like an absolute pro at it. I am a complete newbie. And so we thought it would be fun to like carry over a similar kind of podcast, but more with like him as the expert pro and me as the one that knows literally nothing. We did an introductory show. It's called After the Show. We have actually been off. We haven't gone back to it in like 5 or 6 weeks. We're still trying to figure out if that's something that we want to do. So I'll save the promotion on it. I don't even know the Twitter and everything I set up for it because it's just been on pause. But I feel like, as FIFA's kind of winding down for the year, you may find us over there as well.
Cool. Go check it out. It's definitely a sport. I don't know anyone that's actually interested in it besides you two, but hey, I think that's a cultural difference as well. Chris, it's good to have you back, my friend. Talk about getting people back. He's coming back this week.
Yeah.
Or maybe actually not this week when we're recording this, but next week. We're getting Inta onto the show. So at FIFA Check, of course, she's coming back after winning the big tournament, which did not allow her to get on the show when we actually scheduled it. So she's coming on. We are getting pro players Kai and Jason back in 2 weeks. So then after this week, they'll get back on the show as well. They talk about what a after season for a pro looks like. So what happens once you don't have anything to do in your professional career in FIFA over the summer? Do you start playing team of the season? Do you still play co-op or pro clubs? Or are you just going to throw away your controller and rest? We'll find out in 2 weeks when they join us. And of course, go check out, I should not plug my own website, but check out footcoaching.com because we are still coaching. We have a full team and we're actually still very much busy. And there's a new blog on it. Where I try to write a new blog every single week. This week is all about the experiences James Toland, Tolanda77, taught us this Friday, where he said every day is a school day. And I've been keeping that mindset with me, and I've been trying to learn something new every single day. And that's what I'm trying to write about. Today I've learned then there's something like banana on pizza. So there's definitely something to find out there. But go check out the blog. I think it's very cool. But if you want to find a different point of view on that, let me know as well, because I can definitely pay attention. Even during the summer break, which I will be having in 3 weeks, I will still write that blog and it will come there as well. Chris, we are doing a special show for our supporters. Can you quickly tell the people about that?
Yeah, we're gonna do a show where we get to meet our Discord, our wonderful Discord. You'll get us on patreon.com FUT Review. We're going to do their ultimate team. We did actually not ask an important question to Tyler. For people who are maybe listening to the show, is which famous actor would play you in the film of your... which famous actor plays you in your life story? So people can know what you look like if they're not looking at YouTube.
With Matt Damon.
Yeah, it's a good choice. It's actually the choice I wanted to say. Yeah, you look a lot like him.
Maybe not.
And you should actually check out
and makes better
YouTube,
pizza than Matt Damon as well.
Chris actually looks like Chris Hemsworth, but you can only check that if you go to YouTube. So
I look like Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth. That's what I look like.
No. I'm just kidding. So check that out. Check everything out. We'll be back this Friday. Well, Daniel is going to be back if everything goes well. So Daniel will be hosting this Friday. And then the week after, we've got Inta. We've got the guys from PAX Wallet returning. More Pro Clubs news coming soon. We're going to present our new esports jersey this week. We are having the last talks with sponsors. I think Tuesday or Wednesday, we might have the final signatures on paper, and we'll be announcing the new kit, which is directly available for everyone with the new sponsors. And Chris already saw it. I'm so happy with this kit. I was happy with last year's kit, but this one, I honestly can't wait to show everyone. And that's what I've been doing all day, show people my phone and showing the new kit. Even the kids here at the local football field like, well, that's a cool kit. So if the kids like it, I hope you guys like it as well. Let me know what you think. For now, there's just one thing left to do. I'm going to see if Tyler still knows how this works. Tyler, what's the one thing we have to do now?
Drop it.
Drop it.
You.